Hey, everybody. What's up? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Cannabis Legalization News. We have more bad news this week. It's just been like a ongoing theme for some reason since the administration changed. And so we have more of that. And there won't be any news really for the next 2 weeks because Congress is off for 2 weeks. We have crap that we're going to go over, and a lot of it is crap. Few areas of actual good news, but what do you expect? They are not prioritizing this industry, and they may start enforcing certain laws. Fun fact, did you know back in the 70s, decriminalization was sweeping the nation? And then guess what happened? Reagan. So, like, Trump might be the new Reagan, just, for drug policy, not necessarily for like free trade, because Reagan never would have done that terrorist thing. Anyway, let's get into our trending story. It has to do with the lawsuit to reschedule cannabis, which is an interesting type of lawsuit. It's an administrative hearing, and so we'll kind of dig into and unpack that after this bumper. And we bring on our co-host, Miggy.
Hey,
What up?
holy crap, your mic works, dude. Holy crap.
I put the actual mic in, and so the mic was over there. And then I have the wrong headphones, and so the headphones don't have the good mic. So then I put in a better mic.
What was I saying? I don't think your mic's worked in like 5 years.
Well, I try to make sure that I have a really, really bad product for the audience. Nothing torments the audience like crappy audio. Nothing also torments the audience like 4 more years of the Trump administration. We have a DEA rescheduling update. We actually go to the paper that was filed. I believe Shane Pennington filed it. It's a 1-pager. This is something that he probably did not even on a weekend, but it had to be submitted by both Shane and then also the James Schwartz. He is an attorney for the DEA, and it says basically nothing, as you can see. Like that's the COS. That's a certificate of service. Those are important, but that's just basically like I emailed it to all these people, and so like right now in our super case that we have for the craft growers, which we got our pleadings. Well, it's not pleadings, motions or merits briefings on file on Wednesday. Hopefully we win that, and then hopefully I have another case that I'll win in about a month, and I'll finally be able to talk about it. It's just fucking annoying to get sued like by an asshole who knows what he's doing and shouldn't be allowed to have licenses. And anyway, I'm gonna win, so I don't really mind that much, unless courts are used to break laws, and courts are usually not used to break laws, especially when the law is like very clear. It's like you cannot shield ownership. Like I didn't like lie on our application. Put Miggy back on. I'm talking to him. Like, I didn't lie on our application to like say like I don't exist, and then try to like have like 50 applications just shoved into the application window.
Well,
this guy who sued me did.
I just want to remind people too that you are not a criminal lawyer. You are just a business, right? Or banking lawyer. How would you?
No, it's corporate. It's corporate and litigation. And so like if you are a corporation or a bank or a business that has litigation, I can help. If you are a guy who's been arrested for weed, I make a referral. But because of my websites, I get a lot of calls, probably 10% of them. Either way, this is a joint status report, and like when the Department of Agriculture in the super case for the craft grower licenses files a report of status, it's comprehensive and thick. It's like 5 to 10 pages.
Yeah.
This is a paragraph.
Yeah.
It's a paragraph. I mean, like, I see, like, I don't have my screen shared, and yours is on the service.
I just closed it out.
That's the next one. That's the next one. Yeah.
That's
also more bad news. And people, like, the trolls are just so nice to me, especially when they make their money from hemp. They tell me like do great things like die and shit. And so, but like our next story is about how they've basically handed over the industry to the big alcohol industry and how I'm not happy about it. Still,
isn't that funny too? Like the big worry, right? Like rescheduling. Honestly, I think is the only choice and chance that we have right now for any federal parity amongst the states, right? Like, but everybody wants to like, even Jason Beck from High at 9, right? They're like, no, we don't want to give it to big pharma. Well, you're giving it to big alcohol now.
Giving it to big alcohol. Hemp is giving it to big alcohol every effing day. But anyway, back to the main story. And again, like this main story, I'm not sharing mine. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. I should have done that before.
Just went over it real quick. I mean, that.
But I mean, I know, I understand. Like I have it like all highlighted here, and so it's just paragraph? This is how sad it is. Like this is it. Pursuant to the tribunal's order, and then like this is the most. Shane, I am calling you out. Okay. Shane is a good lawyer. Shane is a good lawyer, and I'm sure James Schwartz is as well. Like the government usually doesn't hire schmucks, but hey, I was talking about that. And so like it's the DEA, and then they define it, government or DEA, by and through the undersigns, hereby submits the order and report of the government and movements. And then so he defined a term in the alternative and used it once. That and now I can go back to like that grinds my gears as a lawyer. Sure. Like I don't like doing that. Like when I have a definitional, like if you want to be cute, you'll use the definitional before you define it. But even then, you don't.
Well, that one page. I mean, there seems to be to say a lot still about this topic, right? Like, are you familiar with the lawsuit that I shared with in Slack about the lawyer from New Jersey who's involved on the government side?
No.
Apparently, she's not in good standing, but there's a lawsuit in Jersey side where the cannabis business that's in this lawsuit is, she's not in good standing with her New Jersey residency because she hasn't paid whatever. I just find it weird that sometimes they don't send their best, right? Like this conversation of legalization.
I mean, the feds. Like if you're if you're a U.S. attorney, you're usually pretty good, or you did well in school. And you get that good. You may have been a law clerk for a federal judge for several years before you got that job. They usually are very, very well educated. They could still be extremely dogmatic and political, which has a tendency to blind you from your ability to, lawyer well by looking at reasoning and principles as opposed to, that's how I believe it is. Round them up and ship to El Salvador.
Yeah, but that kind of like what's going on. I mean, that seems to be like you would think best intellectual practices would be involved with this conversation, but it's not. It's not even fair because when the federal thing does happen, the hemp will go away because hemp's trying to be weed right now, right? Like, can we just stop pretending that if you're selling your stuff as Blue Dream, whatever, or Purple Nurple, like you want to be medicine, but you're not still. Not the regulated state markets are still dominant because it's a better choice, I think, in my opinion. As someone who's experienced Washington State's growing, evolving legalization, still not perfect, but Canada did all right. Like when you talk about the traditional market and black market, like one of the stories we're going to be covering later is the Metrc thing, right? Diversion. Mm-hmm. When is it that we cared about diversion? But now because like, you know what I mean? Like as far as people champion the hemp thing, but also at the same time, whoa, the state markets are like letting go. They're not counting for all the weed. Inversion, diversion. And so like Illinois and Missouri had a problem, but then like Illinois, as far as I'm aware, doesn't. But GTI and Nature's Grace and the other grows that have like large outdoor farms that are for hemp. I mean, like Illinois is now, it's very strange. Illinois' hemp laws are a total THC for the rules, but they never change the definition of hemp. So like they allow all this THCA to come in and directly compete with all the license holders that have to follow the rules and sell Illinois weed. But then the hemp farmers can't grow that stuff to supply those smoke shops. It's messed up. Almost as messed up as this order from the joint status report, this order right there. That one. And so again, this took 90 fucking days for us to get. And so pursuant to the January 13th order, again, you make a definitional of government or DEA, and then you don't use, like, you didn't need to put or DEA on there, whatever.
whatever, bro. And so to date, movement's interlocutory appeal regarding this remains pending with the acting administrator. Now, that's where I would have used DEA, but whatever. And then no briefing schedule has been set. Also, like what? Like, you had 90 days and you did nothing. Like, this would have taken me, like, I could have written that in less than a 0.1. Like, and 0.1 is the smallest increment when you bill at like $500 an hour. Because like when you send back an email, where are we on this? Like, was that really worth $50? Well, lawyers say absolutely.
But it does seem like a low level effort, right? Like as far as this topic goes. We got a comment from Tom Patterson about how a black market bus 801K. We are living in an upside down world, my friend, where you know me because I've helped a lot of people who've been incarcerated, right? Mm-hmm. Like I still don't think, right? Nobody should be in jail for this plant, right? But this farm bill hasn't stopped people from getting pulled over. The farm bill hasn't stopped people from being detained or products being confiscated. So like, it's not legalization, as people say, but also, a lot of these instances happen in like legal states where people we're all just trying to push the envelope. Nobody wants to go to jail. Nobody wants to pay taxes.
And y'all want to make that sweet money.
That's it.
They just want that sweet, easy money. Sweet, easy money is now going to the alcohol industry. Reason number 12 why hemp grinds my gears when it's not being hemp. The American Beverage Licensure issues a policy memo on state regulation of intoxicating THC products, indicating that if you want to sell intoxicating THC, it should only be sold at a licensed alcohol retail location. So, and then I got into it with the guy that the Cheech and Chong brand has for their CEO on LinkedIn, because I still think THCA pre-rolls are a vast, conspiracy to traffic in marijuana interstate, not like the pre-rolls that you can buy at our dispensary when it gets open. That's intrastate and also licensed. And so like lower priority, but still whatever. And they have saddled up to the Binny's Beverage Depots, the Total Wines, the big alcohol of the world. And it's not just them, it's all the large cannabis seltzers that are out there because they all want to sell product. They don't care about legalization. And so what are they doing? They're handing THC. They're handing marijuana, like getting high from this plant over to big alcohol. And everybody seems to be fine with it, provided that they have a drink line that you really should hear about. And they're doing, and that's the other thing that really upsets me, is like they're able to do DTC, which is direct to consumer marketing. Oh yeah. Like you're a Tesla or something, direct to consumer marketing, or like a pair of slacks on bonobos or whatever. So they're selling these beverages direct to consumer, and that's the lion's majority of a lot of their sales. Or they're in licensed alcohol retail locations with their supply chain. So they've just merged big alcohol. Who had big alcohol and like who's going to corrupt the cannabis industry? I mean, everybody used to talk about big pharma. We don't want Schedule 3 because of big pharma. Really? Because the hempsters immediately gave it to the alcohol industry. Like
100%.
Immediately, without even a qualm or batting an eye. And they're just like, what? Yeah. Why are you being such an asshole?
Well, if you think about it too, like if, when they scream, we want regulation, we want to be regulated. Well, we want cannabis to be regulated. We want everybody to have a fair chance in every state, right? Like that's how
we don't want truckers to piss hot. We don't want people to get evicted because they live in public housing. We don't want people to have to check a box and they can't buy a gun. Like you're not helping with any of that shit. What the fuck, but they don't care because that's sweet, sweet cash. And then it's me that's the jerk. I am not being cool.
I mean, and again, like I made that meme about the kid influencers now, the cannabis influencers who are ignoring all your consumer rights and protections and just eyeing this whole THCA bullshit, right? Like, or even the vapes, which I question still, like the integrity of the product, because I know in Washington State, they're doing it right. But hey, it's that time.
It's 20 past the hour. Oh, unfortunately, this thing needs to warm up. That's the thing. Good old-fashioned stuff. You just need a lighter and a spark. And then THC becomes THC. Well, it's THCA. They're both Delta-9. Whatever. It's silly. You know definitions are going to change. We'll see you after the bumper. Hey, did you know that you can get cannabis legalization news emailed to you every week when we're live, or when we create a new video and it also goes live, or have just some updates that may be going on at my company Collateral Base? There's a QR code on our screen right now. If you're watching it on a television and not your phone, it's a lot easier to take a picture of, by the way. And that will get you our email list. Every story that we go over goes into the email list, and we do a link to it. So like you would have gotten a link to this memo from the American Beverage Licensees Association. And also you would have gotten a link to the one-pager nothing burger of a report, which took 90 days in the marijuana rescheduling evidentiary hearing that's happened before Judge Mulroney. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to hit this kind pen. Miggy, why don't you take us to our next story, please?
All right. But next story is, wait for it, it's loading. Federal President Trump taps former Fox News reporter for Drug Czar position. So I'm guessing you just got to work at Fox to, I got it. Here we go. Here, I won't touch it. You go ahead. Shit. President Donald Trump has chosen conservative journalist Sara Carter to serve as the director of the White House of Office National Drug Policy. And again, ain't shit can happen now. Carter is a former Fox News contributor with no formal drug policy, public health, or law enforcement background. As a reporter, has investigated the role of foreign drug prep. I just can't take these motherfuckers seriously. I want to be like, these are grown-ups in the room.
Wait. Is it because you can't take him seriously because the Secretary of Defense shares military plans on Signal and invites, or for some reason, the editor of The Atlantic, like an extremely liberal paper, is on that text thread? Or can you not take them seriously because they will literally melt down your 401k just to see if they can make the biggest pop ever after telegraphing it to everybody to buy stocks?
Right? No, it's the whole DEI thing. Like they are the administrative DEI hires. Like none of these fucking people have any experience. Are like, we are so fucked. Like you need good weed. That's why we're trying to promote legalization, because you need what I'm smoking. That's it.
You need regulation, bro.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut the regulations. Yeah, and so interesting. Donald Trump has a type when it comes to people that he likes to appoint, and this is another one. They have to come from Fox News. If you come from Fox News, you might become the new Drug Czar. And so this is the Drug Czar. She has expressed support for patient use of medical cannabis, and she once said, which of course, who knows? There's things people say, and then there's things people say after they join the Trump administration. And I'm not trying to bash the Republicans or Trump or anything and saying that they aren't down for legalization. I'm just saying, if you do a historical analysis of the issue, you will notice a voting trend. That's it. But her quote is, "I don't have any problem if cannabis is legalized and monitored. I'm not saying we've got to make it illegal," which of course that's a very strange quote, and even trying it makes the dog's head go like, what? I don't have any problem if cannabis is legalized and monitored. I'm not saying we've got to make it illegal. But she's a Fox News host. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again, the average military manual was written on an 8th grade level, right? So that tells you the average citizen reading level, which scares the hell out of me, because there's a lot of dumb people out there. I'm just saying. We got news stories. New survey shows many Americans concerned about unsafe cannabis driving, some to grow at home. Why? What is coming from? Where's it coming from?
Business Wire. This was a press release. Oh, it's taking forever to load. There it goes. Nope, not that one. Share this tab instead. That's one. That tab. Yeah. New survey shows many Americans concerned about unsafe cannabis driving, some to grow at home. I grow at home. I still buy from the shops. I don't buy from the shops as often because I grow at home, and I have kids, and I just don't smoke as much weed as I used to because I don't want them asking me, what's that smell? Because they're young. They're 10 and 4,
Well, it really is the implications of the survey. I read it wrong. I see how like it's if I could grow my own food at fucking home, yeah, no shit. So I'd grow my own weed. Like it all same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like if I could self-sustain, that'd be great. But I can't. Dude, I'm gonna grow a salad this year.
4%. We grow salads all the time. They take about a month to harvest.
No,
And
literally
so,
though.
no, literally. And so, like, you know, you mow down you plant the lettuce. It takes about a month. You mow it down. It comes right back. You do it again. You get about like 4 harvests out of it, and then you got to start again. You get fruit out of it and all that stuff.
But you're talking about real production. I'm talking about literally just a head of lettuce, a tomato, and a fucking cucumber. Will probably out of my 100 seeds I plant. Though I did get 6 seeds to sprout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So of Chad's, I got some of this Nakatomi.
Oh,
Fingers
good.
crossed.
Chad, Westport sent you some seeds.
Yeah, these are last year. So like,
Right,
I'm probably
nice.
last year the kitties knocked over the clones I had, or not the clones, the sprouts I had popping. Right. I'm gonna keep them out of their head.
Yeah, cats. They're just trying to remind you how evil they are.
Yeah, well, they want to kill me. That's cool though. Death by cuteness.
I guess.
But yeah,
you're so adorable and like deadly. Okay, but the poll. The poll was by Royal Queen Seeds, RQS. I think, no, it might have been them or one of the seed companies wanted to come on the podcast. We're trying to do a deep dive, but like a lot of the people that reach out about the show, like there's a lot of flakes. And so it's like, or it's just a shitload of publicists. And that's what they do. They email for their clients to get them on podcasts. And we often say like, no, that's all right. But anyway, Harris poll on behalf of Royal Queen Seeds. 54% of Americans believe store-bought cannabis contains pesticides. Well, it definitely does if that store is a gas station and it's called THCA flower.
For sure.
Similarly, among cannabis consumers, 62% say they're concerned about knowing exactly what is in the cannabis products they consume. Again, this is why we need licenses and regulation. The hemp was only made to test for THC because you weren't supposed to be smoking it. That's why they were going to test for THC. Okay, go make that into some rope and some shorts. You know, that was the point. It's not what happened.
And again, when we talk about regulation's an evolving thing, right? Like here in Washington State, when we talk about testing, I don't have. Oh, here it is. There's no like pesticide requirement testing for this guy. There's no, you know, they're only testing for THC percentage and then like I think maybe cannabinoids, if that. But like our medical, they have to test for. It's weird how we have different requirements of testing for the same consumable plant. Like that's the whole point of legalization, so we can all know we're getting good product, right? Like you don't know that with hemp. It's still not required. They want to say they're doing it. You might be the best freaking grower. I don't know, bro. But like what I do know is you can do whatever the hell you want. So I don't know you, man.
Yep. Yeah, but then some people still get all bent out of shape with the buying from the store because they're like, oh, it's also not as good. And that's fine. Like, you know, the tomatoes you grow in your own garden are going to be better than the ones you buy at the supermarket. But, bro, you got to, like, grow that thing. That thing takes forever. And what if you want to, like, go on vacation for a week? You're supposed to have a buddy come by? Or then I guess that's when you have to start getting automated watering systems in your basement.
Well, there's more involved in that, right? But like, you see that a lot too online, where people are like, I don't want to go to a dispo, or dispo weed's fucked up, or whatever. Yeah. We don't even call them dispensaries here no more. It's a fucking pot shop. It's a store, just like the liquor store. It don't mean shit. Like none of you are special. It's just a thing that I can go to. You don't have to smoke it. You don't have to walk in those doors. But I got that choice, and it's kind of nice. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm stoked. Like we now own a zoned building in where we're going to build the dispensary, and we're going to have exposed brick because it's a historic building, and so having exposed brick that sounds nice to me. You know, it'd be charming having exposed brick, and then it's going to have a lot of local cannabis, and so like there's no grows in that city yet, but some of my clients are going to win. And they've expressed interest in growing in that city. So then we'll have like really local cannabis in several years. And a lot of the craft grow clients that I have, we could stock our shelves and be more. No, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see like what our customers want and then how we can grow that for them.
And again, you should pull up that QR code because you want to follow. This is why you want to follow us, because we got a real business. And we're potentially going to be really like Tom's been doing this for a minute. Like I didn't even think about like I was going to like be a store owner in any sense of the means. Like I've joined you on this podcast just to talk about policy and weed and make changes in that sense, right? But Tom's been actually, well, I'm just saying, like you've been arguing about the hemp thing. Like I see the markets, right? Like I saw CBD being big. I just never saw influencers, like cannabis influencers, being a big part of the market, also, right? Because of advertising things, and also never saw people like pushing a line with hemp and saying it's your weed, bro. This is your medicine. You know, when Bay Smoke's gotten people sick, people think that Pine Park's going to be good because, dude, you're in Texas. I'm sorry, man. Like, whoo, better get that bag quick. That's what I think. But want to go to the next story? Sorry.
Yeah, man. Let's go to the next story.
Will Pennsylvania ever legalize weed? I mean, this is definitely a Tom's subject because you've been following it state by state for business purposes, right? Like,
well, not only that, like we had somebody from Pennsylvania be on the program 4 years ago. He's no longer in the legislature in Pennsylvania. That bill has been gone for like at least 2 Congresses ago. They haven't moved. Yeah. And so they say that this is going to happen. And I'm like, what bill? What bill, bro? Because I don't even know what bill they're talking about. And so it's like, we're going to legalize it. I'm like, legalize it how? Like, you need to have a law that says, here's how it's going to happen. And this isn't Illinois, or to a certain extent, Minnesota, where you can just lock out the Republicans. It's too much of a swing state. You have to have a bipartisan bill that's called to see if it can get an up or down vote and pass. Simply because, like in Illinois, like that's why hemp is so bad. It's because you need 60 Democrats. You need to be able to say it doesn't matter, like if the Republicans care or not. If the Democrats want this, we're getting it. That's the Illinois legislature, and that Illinois legislature is defending unregulated hemp sales to kids across the street from schools, at gas stations, no regulations. It's nuts.
And I get like the fear mongering on the sense of the hemp shit, but like I'm just sad like how this policy and politics like you view the party thing. You've always been a political guy, like, right? Like I've always only been political, or at least with the law, just because I don't want to go to jail for something I like to consume. Nor do I think anybody else should, right? That's what why I've tried to understand the law. But you've been practicing your hopes and dreams about like I always thought like Democrats were always going to be on the side of good. I thought like I'm just an independent, but with the fact that the Chicago mayor is blocking this progressive, this evolution of legalization is constantly changing, right? When we talk about regulation and the testing necessities, if we had it federally, it'd be great because then we'd all be on the same fucking rules. But every state is different. You know, everybody has this opinion like, oh, well, this is how it's. Nah, bro, that's how it's done in Massachusetts or it's done in Illinois. It's not how it's done in Washington State, Oregon, California is a shit show. But we all have our own, right, like lanes and understandings. But you've been understanding policy when it comes to like Pennsylvania. What is it? Just that they're so like on the line when they vote? I just is this a thing, dude?
It's a swing state. It's a swing state. That's what it really is. And so like the legislative states that have passed cannabis legalization, not hemp because that wasn't supposed to get you high. That's why it was so easy, and why the legislatures are kind of pissed off now. You know, see Texas about that. But you know, if you look at all the legislative states that have passed it, legalized it through not the ballot initiative, they're all democratically controlled by majorities, like large majorities, and so like that kind of might be the setup. And then which states are swing states that have to do it legislatively vis-a-vis not like Missouri or Oklahoma, which are heavily conservative states, and one has open medical and the other one has adult use and medical. You see like states like Illinois or Minnesota or Maryland, states that had to like legislatively pass it, they tend to be so liberal that it doesn't matter if the Republicans stand in the way. And so that's not the case in Pennsylvania. That's not the case in Wisconsin or Iowa or Indiana or Kentucky eventually did go, then they legalized it. I'm not sure if Kentucky was a ballot initiative state. I'd have to look into Kentucky's. I thought they legalized it legislatively. Tennessee hasn't. You know, those states, they tend not to vote for those things. They don't come up for a vote. And I'm not saying it's because they're Republican. I'm saying, isn't that interesting that the Republican states don't do that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, Oklahoma hit medical, right? Like, isn't Pennsylvania's
but
governor
that was the voters. And so, like, you have to understand there's a difference between, like, do they have to legalize it at the ballot box, or do they have to legalize it? And in what's the capital of Pennsylvania? It's
like legislation only, like
legislation only, like Illinois style, like Illinois was the first state to legalize it legislative only, like 6 years ago now.
No shit, like you guys don't have a choice where actually the people can do a petition or a bill and then like get their voice heard on a law.
No, lots of states are like that, and then states like that's why Pennsylvania hasn't gone. That's why Wisconsin hasn't gone, because they're swing states and they have to do it legislatively. And so the states that have done it, like, you know, since Illinois, like, you know, there's Minnesota and Maryland, I think, were two examples legislatively. They're Democrat controlled. Yeah.
Wow, so that's now you know, and that's why you fuck with us, because I had no idea. I thought like in every state, the citizens always had a choice or chance to like put a bill through or ballot. They didn't have to like beg their legislator, beg the representative to like, hey, could you pass this bill?
No,
that's crazy.
No, it's exactly how it is. And then that's one of the reasons why, like, they were the first state to do it. And then that's why our security regulations and all the other crap are so nuts. And then the thing that really gets me butthurt is that the legislature turns over so much that they handed the control over to these guys that see the state as it's like through very racial lenses, I guess. This is the most neutral way to put it. And then also through lenses where it's like, it's our way or the highway. There is no such thing as bipartisanship. So like it has to benefit minorities, and 100% of the Democrats to pass it have to be on my side, or I won't call it as a vote. Come to my fundraiser next Tuesday. That's $4,000 a plate. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks, dude. That's shitty too. That means like Illinois is really the stall. I didn't realize how bad it was there. Like, yeah, how we have to, because like I with Cole, like I want to be hopeful. I want to be like, you know, we can make change because your guys' medical needs to be changed. You know, and here in Washington State, we've tried multiple times. So many things have died in committee. We're like, how do you get to that, you know, importance? How do you make cannabis a number one issue where the alcohol is already taken over? People want to be big pharma rescheduling. Ooh.
Yeah, and now it's big alcohol. And like, how many of the people that watch our show used cannabis to get off alcohol? It's not a small amount. And then you see, it's like, okay, so that was the point of the Farm Bill. The point of the Farm Bill was to give intoxicating cannabis to the alcohol industry. Get the fuck out of here, you know. And so that's our next story. Hemp industry expert tells Congress businesses are begging for federal regulations at FDA-focused committee hearing. The FDA has gone on record numerous times saying that they do not have the authority to enact these regulations because it would be tantamount to legislation. See the case that came out from the Supreme Court last year called Looper that completely kneecapped the regulations that FDA would be writing, because there ain't none. Congress did not make any. You know what the regulation Congress made? You have to test for total THC to determine if it is Delta-8 compliant. How interesting. You know what they don't listen to? That. But and again, why regulations? And so the only regulations they're going to be able to get out of the FDA are regulations promulgated pursuant to authority, which does not effing exist in the Farm Bill. And so that's their whole argument, that they can't create these regulations. It takes congressional action. That's why all the stuff that's at, you know, Benny's Beverage Depot, you get the Cheech and Chong thing, and then you look at it in the back where they have, like, you know, this FDA disclaimer that they got from what you would see like if it was a nutritional supplement, which is, you know, governed by a completely different law from 30 years ago in 1995. And so that one is hilarious. It says the FDA has made no claims on these products. Yes, they have. They have numerous said. They've said and sent many letters out saying if you put cannabis in the food supply, it is adulterated. It is not legal.
Well,
They do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's the alcohol industry's taking it.
the FDA also did a webinar on like this full process of taking Delta-8 hemp and converting to Delta-9, right? Like the bastardization of this cannabis by turning it to something, right? Like, ooh, I passed a COA. You can't fuck with me. But now we're gonna put it in the big vat with all the other chemicals to break it down and turn it into this Delta-9 that, hey, bro, now you get that blue dream. People are being denied quality for cannabis when it comes to the hemp, right? Like the naturally grown thing, the naturally grown something grown to fruition. You know, you're buying it from a farmer playing a COA game. You know, like, and when I say COA, they're trying to not test at 0.3%. They're trying to harvest early. You're getting green bananas, you know, or
well, but then what if you had to test the banana a month before you harvested it? That's what you have.
Yeah.
You have the harvest is a month away, where 80% of the cannabinoid content comes from. So by itself, the test is arbitrary. Because how can you test for total THC compliant when 80% of the THC comes in the last 4 weeks of flower?
That's a good point.
By rule. What the fuck is that? You know, either way, that still does not fix the issue of jurisdiction that the FDA has to create regulations for an industry that never was intended for this. This was intended as industrial hemp, not for human consumption cannabis. And so, like, then where do you get to the federal rescheduling, which fucking nothing burger there, like, 90 days. And what we got, we don't even have a briefing schedule, Your Honor. Did you do anything? We attended Trump's inauguration. That was 3 months ago, whatever. But that you have in the statute enabling rescheduling, and then from rescheduling, enabling FDA regulation.
Yeah.
And so there you might be able to create a rubric to regulate the whole effing plant, from hemp, from like seeds to hemp to weed to marijuana, get rid of the whole marijuana definition. But otherwise you need like legislation. And what legislation is going to be? Like, seriously, you can't get safe banking. You think that they're going to legalize marijuana? You think that they're going to volitionally create marijuana simply because it's labeled as hemp that gets you high because it was made in the lab? Yeah, and I got a Brooklyn Bridge to sell you.
Let me put this out there. If rescheduling happened, right? Because rescheduling is the only federal, and I really do believe it needs to be recognized as medicine as well, right? Because every state that has had medicine first, and then they get the recreational adult use, turns into this bastardized bullshit where, the laws are going to take a long time. How long did it take for alcohol to get to the point where
12 years of prohibition?
But like after post, right? Like when the after the amendment,
we'd have to look on it, because like they had the 2 amendments, and then there was probably some enabling statutes, because that the 3-tiered alcohol regulation system. And again, there's licenses for that. Like, there's licenses for the retail, there's licenses for the distribution, and there's licenses for the preparation, the manufacture. And so, like, do we need those 3 licenses? That's how Illinois modeled theirs. They have the licenses for the manufacturer, they have licenses for the transportation, they have licenses for the retail. Right now we got no licenses or state licenses.
Something I need to point out though too is the reason why I'm using alcohol as a reference, not because it's a recreational drug, but it's a market, right? Like, what other thing is American made? Like, there's whiskey, there's breweries, there's American distilleries, but how many American products have any sort of structure regulated they can point to, right? I mean, everybody has their own bullshit they got to go through, even like fruits and vegetables or whatever, but
not hemp. The only thing hemp has to do is test for ripeness a month before harvest.
Then sell it to whoever they want. And then put a
COA on it and sell it to whoever they want. They're begging for regulation.
Yeah. No, and how about we look at one of the things that we're talking about? Not the hemp
let's
version.
Look at some. No, this is hemp under the definition. Like, again, I have been doing videos making fun of the definition of hemp since 2019. Like, it's one of the oldest videos on the channel. Like, you can go back to 2019 when I'm all young and shit. Like, and explaining how the weed that I just bought at the dispensary is hemp. People caught up.
Go ahead, man. is you got any good hints?
I need to know what it is, and I was working. Okay, good. Yeah, what an appropriately named strain, I tell you.
Yes.
It's today.
There you go. I was trying to.
Today's word, the day of today, is the first half of the name of this strain, and it is crossed. Oh, this is a very tasty strain. I mean, it sounds like it is because both of its parents are pretty tasty. Purple Punch and Clementine. Very nice. Like you got a very nice purple, which tastes like purple, obviously, and then Clementine, which is more of a citrusy flavor. And so that's cool.
We got
low THC, but probably good vibes. That's not it. It's
no,
Sunday
not
Child.
it. Nope.
It's close. It's something you do on a Sunday, maybe after church, maybe in lieu of church.
Yeah, to all my heathens out there.
Yep. To all my Wiccan brethren.
All my witches.
I will not see you at the fire circle. Sorry, I've given up. I'm transhumanist now. Yeah, I will be a robot if this plays out correctly.
It's one of my favorite things to do all day. Eat. Almost.
Yeah. Sunday dinner. You're getting there. Roll back earlier in the day.
What about second dinner?
No. This is a made up. This is like the original made up meal for fat people. That's right. Sunday brunch.
Not fat, big bone.
Yeah. People who like to eat. We can't call it second breakfast. It's not quite lunch, so we'll call it brunch. We'll put breakfast and lunch together, and you will get a good meal. But it won't quite be breakfast, and it won't quite be lunch.
Shout out Voodoo Cookie.
Shout out to Voodoo Cookie. Is that the name of the grower?
No, the person that called it.
Shout out to Voodoo Cookie, the person that called it. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't get like there's no genetic parents. I mean, there's genetic parents, but there's no like here's the breeder or here's the company that made it. But low THC sounds good though. Those are
those are pretty bud.
Pretty bud. Yep.
I sent out some of my seeds. I still have some more to send out, but people are asking. I'm like, man, there were just Mexico seeds that I had in the bag, and I think every seed can be a good seed if you grow it right? Like,
no, it's not.
You don't think so? I think
it's absolutely not true. And so, like, every seed is a seed. And so we pop 6. There's 2 left, and there are F1s. And so, like, you pop 6. Out of those 6, you like let the most vigorous one win, basically. And so, like, you kind of water. You're not going to be freaking babying them and stuff. They die, whatever. And then, because they're seeds, you want to see, like, and they're F1s. You want to see who has got the good genes. And so the one that made it the best was the most vigorous one. And then there was like a runt because it's got like a different pheno, or it's got like some different gene somewhere in its DNA where it's more squat. I mean, it's the same freaking seeds, but they're like it's got like 3 parents, And so
but like
the breeder, but it's one of those where it's an F1, so it can be a boy or it can be a girl. It will have different expressions, or like for whatever reason, it won't have the same vigor of it.
Sure.
Or it's got balls. And like, that's the other thing. Like, one of them was a boy and we had to yank it. But there's one really nice female and then one squat one. They look healthy, but any seed cannot make a great plant, but it is a seed.
Well, it can be treated, I think, but I got you, Chris Brady. No, I think but how you recognized how one became like a bush and the other one was growing like a tall, beautiful, tree. You gotta treat them differently, right? Like, that's why growing's so hard. You have to like nurture and take care of in time and understanding. Growing weed's not hard, but growing good weed is, right? And that's where, you go to McDonald's, you expect low caliber burger. You go to Five Guys, you expect, something better. I think. I don't know.
Higher caliber burger. Yeah, but that's it. But then at the same time, like, that is a manufactured process. Seed is a genetic. Like, it's kind of like you don't know. And so, like, we do the same thing if it's tomatoes or if it's weed. Not all of them are winners, and not all of them are going to be like the best one. Like last year, we had like this one tomato plant that just was a monster. Like it was just terrible. I mean, because it choked out all the other tomato plants. And so, then, if that was what you were breeding for to make a crap load of tomatoes, it was great.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more randomness until you get but then they're still from seed. And that's why we use clones in the industry, because then it allows, because you do a run with a crap load of seeds you pop, you pick the phenos, or the traits in the plant that you're looking for. Yeah. You mom them out, you put some into flower, you keep the moms in the room, you number them all, you then harvest and cure them, and then you smoke them, and you see which one has the best that you're looking for, and that becomes your production.
No, you're right.
And so if it was any seed, that wouldn't be how it is.
Well, good luck to the people. Hopefully it's not hemp that I just sent you. I mean, it's all hemp. I swear to God.
It's all hemp. That's the thing. It's all hemp because the plant does not make Delta-8. Like especially if you have to test the fucking plant a month before harvest for total THC compliance, every goddamn plant, every single one out there is hemp.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's still a shady ass market. We got, what's the next story? Is it the hemp industry begging to regulate us?
No, we just did that one. We just did that one. It's there's gonna be no news. We got no news for the next 2 weeks. Everybody just take a nap. Next week's 420. It's also Easter. Spend it with your families, or smoke weed. Smoke weed with your families. It's Easter.
There you go.
And but for the next 2 weeks, we're going to get very little news because of the Easter recess. And so it's not enough to take a week off for Easter. If you're in Congress, you get to take 2 off. And they're going to do more town halls in GOP districts to talk about how angry they are at Trump. And this is why the pendulum swings back. This is why, if we don't get a farm bill this year, we might not get, we'll get one, but the SNAP benefits, and that's the other thing. Now the definition of hemp is getting outside of the farm bill. It's getting into appropriations. And so because of the reconciliation process that's been unlocked through the passage of both budgets, and then that was, that's what they did before they left. The House passed the Senate's version of the budget, so it unlocks reconciliation, so you can't get filibustered with 60 votes. You only need 51. They're going to win. And then you can start slipping in changes like they have in the appropriations bill for the agricultural aspect, changes to the definition of hemp. The Mary Miller bill is in it's section 760 of that appropriations. So that could happen. You don't need a new farm bill. And that's the reason why you can't get a farm bill is because of charity. Do we want $20 billion of SNAP benefits or $40 billion of SNAP benefits?
Even though it benefits the American farmer and all the other stuff. But
right.
Yeah, no,
there's fewer American farmers that vote than people on food stamps.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. The farm bill is going to be the only real, I think, federal news we're going to have, man. Rescheduling is not going to happen.
The budget. Yeah, rescheduling. You saw that. That led the show. Hey, our main story today, a 2-paragraph nothing burger of a report after 90 days. No hearing has been set. No briefing schedule has been set. Tune in July to see if anything's happened. That's where we're at. I don't get it.
Well, and then the relabeling of hemp, and I'll give hemp that much credit. It's opened up the can of worms that's got the conversation going where people are consuming it and they're understanding. I saw somebody in the chat was confused, or CBD weed, it's just the same plant, bro. But what happens is someone's trying to circumvent with a 0.3 requirement testing, and then that's the only requirement. There's no pesticide testing. There's no.
Well, I mean, that's so what am I supposed to do now? I'll just tell all the growers that have marijuana licenses also get a hemp license and then test it a month before harvest, and then just don't say 280E applies. And so all the stuff that's going to be in our shop that's for sale is going to pretty much be hemp. And it's going to be flour. It's going to be pre-rolls. Those are just THCA. You see them at a gas station. You can buy them there. And then all of the vapes. That's the hardest aspect of it. You can just say it's a THCA vape, but
do you
think that's what's in it? Yeah.
I think once if rescheduling were to happen, like every state is already has its present markets, right? Like, what are we doing now about things? So those ones would still exist, and everything will reshape into a state standard, right? A federal standard,
There should be a
right?
federal standard, right? There's a federal
Yeah,
definition of bourbon. There's a federal definition of beer. There's a federal definition of all these things, and there's taxes for like how concentrated it is. Illinois like really modeled the three-tier alcohol system in their regulation regime because you have the same three licenses and the same type of triated or striated tax based on potency. So like your
right.
spirits are taxed higher than your beer or your wine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's and again, not every state's doing the same, but we need that federal. It's weird to be saying that we need a federal standard for me and from my perspective.
We do because I mean, like this is another reason why the Florida Senate votes unanimously to restrict hemp-derived THC. You see, we don't have a standard, and because we don't have a federal standard, you see that these states are taking it on themselves to make sure that hemp and cannabis's or marijuana's definitions are clear, and the definition at the federal level is just murky as all heck. And so, if we could get federal rules for the plant through the rescheduling process, with FDA then having the authority to write rules because it's been rescheduled. But even then, you get to this point where you're asking the regulators and these unelected officials to start doing things that really resembles legislation. And you're not supposed to do that because, when Chevron was the law of the land for like all of my life, except for like the last 1 year. Actually, I think Chevron came out in 1984, so 5 years of my life. And so you didn't have this risk where it's like, no, you have to make that into legislation because we don't have to listen to the experts' interpretation. Or that legislation has to have like specific enabling language in it that says you may write the rules based on this. That's not in the Farm Bill. It's not. It's more likely in the Controlled Substances Act than the Farm Bill, but I would have to do a comprehensive analysis of the Controlled Substances Act to see where that line is. That might make a good video. Maybe I'll do that. I mean, a good video for like nerds that actually want legalization and not just, no, keep the loophole. Keep it.
No, again,
I want to sell the big alcohol.
What? Seriously, but and again, who are we protecting? Like in this thing called legalization, right? Everybody wants to be like cannabis culture, cannabis community, cannabis blah blah. But like
that's all marketing. A lot of that's marketing. They
but there
want
was
to
a
sell
time.
their weed. It's like it's a bag, like buy weed from women. It's like the backpack boys.
Well,
that is their marketing.
That's true story though, but and
it's not sort of true. That's the hustle. If you've ever made $1 on a dime, you know that you have to do certain spins and certain PR. If publicists and PR would not be an effing thing if that wasn't true. That's business. That's how you make sales, and you're trying to communicate a brand. That brand goes back to the streets, and that's what they're trying to communicate. But how that brand dies because the people that bought on the streets, they're gonna forget that. Like I forgot it. Like I haven't bought on the streets in 6 years. You haven't bought on the streets in 10 years. That shit goes away.
No, well, I mean that's where I'm trying to lead to is like the runts or even like cookies. Now that they've dipped into the CBD or the hemp bullshit, right? Like when the federal stuff comes and you want to be recognized as like quality product, right? Quality understanding, right? You still have to understand the plant essentially. It's just like this is what I've been championing for is not to go to jail, right? For protections for everybody, and to have that, you need that federal definition. Rescheduling would make it medicine, right? So it still would always be embraced as medicine, because that's the big thing, right? Oh, big pharma, we're giving it to big alcohol now, right? Like it's all silly semantics that I just want to like not go to jail and be able to cross state lines, right? I want to be able to travel to Mexico and not get my vapes confiscated, right? Like that would be nice, because then that's a whole different animal of international shit, but we still have like you're saying how states are taking it upon themselves. We got the Michigan story coming up where Michigan cannabis regulators consider vape recycling program, right? Like this, we have a lot of excess waste in the industry, the packaging requirements, and all the other shit we do. Like they're just now getting to it. Just like here in Washington State, we only have we don't have real recycle programs for anything, and they should. There was a time where I could just walk into the dispensary with a jar, and they would fill it up for me for whatever how much I wanted, right? And then I wouldn't have that waste. So, hemp was supposed to save the world by being a consumable product, not fucking Friday night. It's not medicine. Right. But yeah, branding's out there, man.
It's definitely a thing. Yeah, Michigan, this is one of the aspects of the industry that we need to figure out, because vapes are extremely popular. A lot of the packaging is not environmentally friendly, and a lot of it is done because of regulatory compliance, the child-proof aspects of these things. And so your waste and your impacts are a legitimate thing, because it's a lot of like Mylars. It's not a lot of like glass jars, because it's cost and it's a business aspect of it. And so the business person would rather see the environment suffer than their bottom line. And you see like disposable vapes, those cartridges, how do they recycle those? They are drafting rules that are going to try to allow for recycled vape cartridge after they remove any perceptible marijuana concentrate remaining in the device. And so the vape that you bought in Michigan one day might not be the first rodeo of its venture. It may have been a refilled vape, which is interesting. Like the vape that I use, so it's a dry herb vape, and then I can clean it. Like, I can unscrew this glass pipe and throw that in some rubbing alcohol and swab the interior. And then, of course, they do break after a few years.
Those are nice. Like when you have something like a battery, like even the cartridges, right? You go to the store, because that's still a little glass, a little piece of metal, right? But you're holding onto that battery. Here in Washington State, I don't know if I told you before, but when this market started out here, there was like a little corner that was all disposable vapes, all in one package, throw it away when you're done. Now there's 3 fucking glass tiers. When I walked in the other day before I left to Mexico, I was like, do I get the consumable, throwable away ones, or do I want to, buy a cart? But the fact that there's so many of these throwaway ones, that it still requires a little bit of battery and a little bit of wires and the pack, all that is waste. It'd be nice if there was a means to recycle them.
Yeah,
right?
But Michigan's leading, and so you're going to get some rules, and those rules might, because the regulators have an agency, not invited the hemp regulators because there ain't none. But regulating the plant, one set of rules. That makes the most sense to me. It's like this whole one set of rules thing. And then having rules for recycling the vape cartridges, I think that's great. Mylar is the next big offender when it comes to waste, I would say. And some of that has to do with the child-proof packaging laws, but then also it has to do with cost. And so there you have Mylars and you have a lot of vape carts polluting.
Speaking of costs, they're all go up. Tariffs, baby.
No, yes, because none of those are made in America, are they? You know what's going to be made in America, though, specifically Rhode Island? Rhode Island Cannabis Control Commission approves final regulations, and so a dispensary round in Rhode Island, actually a licensing round in Rhode Island, even though you should just buy a grow license in Rhode Island if you need to, because they have a glut of them. Interestingly enough, too many grow licenses in Rhode Island, not enough retail licenses. More retail licenses are coming. And then I think there's going to be another 25 of them. And there was a lot of public comments. The rules are effective May 1st, which means we're probably looking at the June to July opening of the window, and probably a August-ish, somewhere in there. Could be September closing of it. Could be later. Could probably not going to be earlier. But Rhode Island, those would be good licenses, especially if they regulate the plant uniformly. One of the things that I wish Illinois did, Minnesota regulates the plant uniformly. New York regulates the plant uniformly. We should just undercut the hempsters right now and be like, let's just regulate it all as cannabis. If you're gonna put it in your body, it should be following the same rules. I don't care if it's CBD. I don't care if it's CBD, because you should then have to prove that CBD is safe for you to smoke.
Well, you go to the store here in Washington State, we have CBD flower for sale. Like, there's predominant people who grow fucking flower with CBD intentions, and predominant cannabinoids and stuff. But they're part of the 502 market here, the rec market, which is a fair choice. I find this next story funny as fuck, though. I don't really. So the memes are kind of funny. They've been out there. Metrc, this
Yeah.
is the company that follows the seed to sale stuff, allowing rampant illegal marijuana activity. Former employee claims. So have you dug into this? Have you read the employee claim? Do you know?
Do you know that Metrc just became the seed to sale tracking software of choice in Illinois? It was BioTrack. BioTrack lost their contract. We're switching over to Metrc right now. And so, like, we'll never see it. Like, we'll be on Metrc from day one, but the clients are out there switching over to Metrc right now.
I think Metrc was here in Washington State. We now use an Excel file. Like the seed to sale, the tracking thing, right? Now there's this big document that all the stores or growers are attached to. But like, I just find this so dumb. Like, so are you familiar with the lawsuit though? Do you know what the story is here? Okay. Because the memes, man, with Beer Bros and apparently some dude, Poetry by Plants, or whatever, are saying like they're allowing for this like diversion, right? And to me, it's like, who fucking cares, man? Like, I don't care. But as an activist or someone in the system, just because, now just hear me out. So like, seed to sale is a failed policy, right? This is all about regulation, right? Lab testing to me is the only regulation we should have, right? Seed to sale is more on the store owner's onus.
For diversion. Like with seed to sale, with like, we don't have seed to sale in beer. And so that's one of the reasons why if we had federal parity, I like Schedule 3 because I just think I'm pragmatic and we need a rubric first for how it's going to be regulated, and interstate commerce that still reflects how some people are just really Republican and they hate the plant. I don't understand why, whatever. But if they still would admit to medical. That's the thing. You hear it out of the Trump administration all the time. Like, I wouldn't do that, but medical's great. And so like, that's the difference between 57% approval, which is where like legalization is, and 88% approval, which is where medical is. And so like, let's go to the medical, get rules. Because like the hemp people aren't going to get rules, or if they get rules, they're going to leave marijuana in the lurch. They're like, screw you guys.
Yeah. Well, I get some onus.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? Like say Metrc, it's all about numbers, right? You, me, we like math. We know numbers, especially when it comes to money. So like, whatever store grower X says it's 100 pounds that they made, right? And then they put it in their database and all this other shit. It's on to the fun police. The numbers are out there, right? Like, this is not a Metrc. They're just a part of the system. They're not the ones that are supposed to, like, what are they supposed to do? Report, and the fucking numbers are there. It's on whatever state fun police that runs the program to be like, hey, grower X, we see you got this going on, and all these stores from one store, or whatever red flag that they think is onus for that, right? Because like, they're already law abiding by being in the system. So like, how are these guys being the ones that are like enabling the corrupt? Are they hiding data? That's what I'm trying to, like, let's see. I'm just saying, man. I'm trying to see like how these guys are the one in wrong, because I think seed to sale is just a dumb part of regulation. I mean, I get diversion.
It's diversion, and so that's what it is. And so because like you have this hodgepodge of laws, and like seed to sale is kind of like the same thing as the not marijuana, they're called cigarettes. The tax stamp for tobacco that you see on any package of cigarettes that you bought. And so like, that's still, you're going to have to like replace the seed to sale tracking with some type of tax stamp where you know that crop has had its taxes paid. That's where you get, like, that's how it is with alcohol. That's how it's going to be. That's how it is with tobacco. That's how it's going to be with marijuana. But THC, let's call it THC. And so, yeah, that's why it's going to not necessarily be seed to sale, but you're going to get something like that where it's like, this product here, taxes have been paid and nothing went out the back. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're not, as Philip Morris or as Budweiser, you're not allowed to like have a legitimate channel and an illegitimate channel,
Oh no, I get that part. Like, even the DEA requires like, but they allow like 3% or some gross number for like loss or some,
sure. I'm sure
stolen.
They should. Yeah, slippage, shrinkage. They should allow a reasonable shrinkage number, but then you're not, like, if it's, let's say it's 2%, you're not making a lot of money on that 2%. Sure, you might find a couple of bucks, that fell off a turnip truck, but whatever.
I'm just trying to see how these guys are at fault because their only purpose is just to track the numbers. Like, it's on the fund police of that state to like plug in and be like, hey, and that's where the onus comes in. I think.
The other thing, but then like again, like if you're trying to upsell, you could say like, hey, state of Illinois, for an extra $300,000 a year, we will give you analytics so that you could see, oh, they might be slipping product. Why didn't they? Because like that's what software is. Why didn't you like create some new vertical inside because it's just a SQL database. Let's be real. Like, what is this seed to sale tracking besides a SQL database? And if you don't know what a SQL database is, go back to 1978 and ask the guy who owns Cisco, whatever his name is, the billionaire, Ellison. He'll explain them to you. And so that's all that you have. And then you just have a little layer of data on top of it. And you charge the state more to help the regulators out.
Oh, I see. Hey, so, but looking at the in this lawsuit, Estes, who has this lawsuit against Metrc, claims in his lawsuit that Metrc executives, including James Daly, the company's vice president of product management, dismissed his concerns and told him flagging irregularities, say that 6 times, was not our job. So it's like, I think I agree with him. I agree with the fucking president, though, man. It's not your job to bump the numbers up, right? That should be like a surcharge now more. Like, oh, you want us to do your work? You got to pay for the golden membership. They're just a fucking software company. That's all. Everybody's meaning on them and talking shit when you should be talking shit about the seed to sell law itself, the requirement. Right? It's not Metrc's fault. They want to be like a game player in cannabis on that sense, right? This backbone of the industry is very dry and gross, right? Like that's why we need rescheduling to have that definition.
We need rules. We need laws. But yeah, man, we could go on. Do you want to cover the last story, or should we just wrap it up? The last story is just about, like they're creating clinical trials now and sending press releases about them.
That's all good, man. Oh, it's been an hour, and I appreciate the 300 of our best friends hanging out with us.
That's right. Oh yes, you guys, you've done it again. You've spent some time with us, and as a result, you should definitely get these emails every week by hitting our QR code. I'll also drop it in the comments and pin it, a link to where you can sign up to get those emails. And then, if you need anything else, please get in touch with us over wherever I do business. I don't like to talk about it too much.
We got a store.
We do not. We have a building and zoning, and now we have to build a store. And so it's going to have old world charm and be a historic renovation. We're going to get TIF funds for it. So the TIF funds will help do a lot of masonry repair and fixes. We need new bathrooms, definitely. But like, we won't have bathrooms in the dispensary. It's a loitering risk. Oh,
okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a more fun videos for the future.
Right. Don't put a bathroom in your dispensary.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah,
consumption lounge. Put it in your consumption lounge, not in your dispensary. Yeah. And then you want people loitering.
Are we gonna have that? Are the rules? There's no consumption lounges still yet.
It's banned in the city.
Yeah. Oh, sad face.
We have enough space to do it if that changes.
Okay. Well, right. We'll find out more later. Happy 420. If we don't see you, Tom might not be around because family stuff.
Yeah, I'll be. Next it's Easter. We should try to get a deep dive. We haven't gotten any deep dives in the can with all those. Like it's just emails and then just kind of. And then but that's the thing. Like I maybe I need to like start looping in Will and be like, just schedule them. And so there's that because we could have had like 3 of them done, but
well, I still got to reply to Mr. THC. I didn't grow. I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, like I told him, like let's go. And then you were on vacation for a week, so I didn't try to schedule anything there. But sometimes if you just let somebody else try to do the scheduling, never gets scheduled.
Yeah, no, It was good. But we'll get more for you people, especially as the store gets closer, because this has been fun. It doesn't pay the bills though, but it's a nice day here in Washington.
It's paying negative bills for me.
Hey man, I get you out there. We got a store coming though.
If I can find another $300,000.
Hey,
We've already
you
earned it.
hear me? Put it out there. Put it out there.
Yeah. We just have to collect it.
Awesome, man. Well, maybe not. We'll see you at 420, and if we do, that'd be good too.
Yep. Have a good week, everybody. Shout out to all our members. You go in the credits.
Somewhere there.